this conversation of ending child marriage in Nigeria has become so familiar that whenever the issue is being raised, headlines often highlight poverty, background, and culture as the root causes. It has even become a cycle in some communities whereby young girls that has been groomed to a certain age, for example, a 7-year-old young girl to be forced to marry a 70-year-old man that is old enough to be her grandfather. And many lives has been lost due to this situation. How do we break this cycle? Join us on this important conversation as we unpack this issue. Stay tuned, sit back, let's begin. Welcome to another episode of the Speak With Her podcast. My name is Ola Miriam. You can call me Mira the Talker, and I am excited to be the host on today's episode titled Breaking the Cycle, Ending Child Marriage in Nigeria and Protecting Girls' Rights. Is this your first time tuning in? This is a space where we invite women from diverse fields and professions to inspire, empower, and educate the next generation, especially young girls who aspire to make a difference in today's world. Joining me as always is my amazing co-host.
My name is Onemilua Feishayo. Thank you, everyone.
And in the studio today, we have an exceptional voice for protecting girls' rights. She's a passionate gender advocate for ending child marriage in Nigeria. And she's here to share her experiences, lessons, and knowledge on how to cope this situation, which is ending child marriage in Nigeria. This episode is specifically for every parent and every young girl children. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the incredible Mrs. Odongaru Dorinda.
Thank you so very much, Miriam. Thank you. It's an honor to be here today, and I don't take it for granted at all. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, and we are expecting to learn from you as well. So as I've introduced you a little, I hope the audience, due to their curiosity, they want to know more about you. Can you please briefly introduce yourself, ma'am?
Okay, my name is Dorinda Odongaru, and I'm a gender advocate for ending child marriage in Nigeria. And funny enough, that is something I do as a volunteering activity because I find pleasure doing things that bring sustainability to the society. I also specialize in sexual and reproductive health and rights. But outside that, I work with an organization that is focused on maternal and child health care. I'm the administrative and project management officer. But I go with the name Gender Advocate for Ending Child Marriage because that is what I do during my spare time. I go to schools, advocate, raise gender advocates like myself, and I also carry out activities that involves young women and girls outside of school to create an enabling environment where they are economically stable. So that is Dorinda for you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that introduction. Ma'am, as a gender advocate for ending child marriage, you work with the coalition of CSOs, right? For ending child marriage in Nigeria. Yeah. Now, from that vantage point, what do you think is really driving child marriage on the ground beyond the usual headlines about poverty and tradition?
Okay, yes. Majorly, when we do our research, we get to find out that, yes, the major driver of child marriage is poverty. And then you see culture and tradition coming in. But there are other drivers of child marriage that are eating deep into our society today. And one of them is the issue of gender inequality and societal norm, where you have issues, you still have communities where they prefer the boy child going to school while the girl child stay at home because of this normal mentality of, at the end of the day, she will get married and her education ends in the kitchen. But they forget that things are beginning to take a turn and girls are beginning to take their places in the society today, and they are making a difference. So that's one. Another is weak enforcement of the law. We actually have policies that speaks against child marriage, but enforcement of these laws are weak. Some of these laws are not harmonized. You see a law saying that a child is somebody who is 18 and above, and you have to wait till when the child is 18 years to get married. And then you see the same law saying that a child who gets married, anyone who gets married automatically becomes an adult. So it makes it very conflicting, because there are some customs that allows marriage at a very tender age. So that means that immediately the person gets married, the person has become an adult, irrespective of the law saying that a child is somebody who is 18 and below. So you can see that there is no harmonization in the law at all. And then we also have issue of climate change and insecurity. Climate change has caused a whole lot of problems for us, because before this whole climate change issue came in, we had a lot going on that has affected. When this issue of climate change and then insecurity sets in, we can look at our country, for example, the issue of insecurity and all of that. This can also lead to abandonment. A lot of persons have abandoned their homes. A lot of children are displaced. At a situation like that, you see them that they become very vulnerable to child marriage, because they find themselves in a situation as little as somebody saying, giving them bread. They can fall for any cajole because they are looking for a way to survive. So anything that comes out of the best ways we can protect the child is to give her out in marriage. When she's married to a man, the man will protect her. So you see issues of protection coming in, causing child marriage. They don't know that when you give a child at a very tender age out in marriage, that is not protection at all. Instead, it exposes the child to violence, because, like I do say when I go for sensitization, if you, as a child, somebody who is supposed to be in school learning, playing, singing nursery rhymes, you now take the person to go and become a wife all of a sudden, and then you expect that child to become an adult. It's not possible. It's violence sets in. The man becomes agitated, he's angry, he's beating the girl, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and all of that. So protection is also something else that actually leads to child marriage. So we have the issue of weak enforcement of the law, we have issue of gender inequality, we have issue of climate change and insecurity, and then we have the issue of protection coming in as well, leading to child marriage. And also lack of quality education. Yes, I must not forget that. Lack of quality education also leads to child marriage, because when a girl drops out of school at a very early age, she's prone to child marriage, because she doesn't get the right information she's supposed to get. She's not enlightened, she's not empowered. At the end of the day, the only thing she sees out for herself is, let me just get married and be under a man that'll be providing for me. At that time, she's easily cajoled to getting married. And then at the end of the day, she starts suffering the consequences of child marriage.
All right, thank you so much for that addition. From what I heard, that is being the driver of this problem, which is child marriage in Nigeria. You said it's because of some see it as an opportunity for them to be able to be fed very well. Because if you are not being fed at home, or it is even a tradition, and the tradition will be like, once you get married, you become an adult. And we all are looking up to become an adult. A 7-year-old child will be thinking that, when will I become like this mommy? When will I become like this daddy? Oh yes, it is when I get married. And daddy, please come and get married to me. Please come and marry me. Is that the situation now? Is that what we're teaching our girl child? Is that what we want our girl child to emulate? We are not even building a future. You think their future ends in the kitchen. You think, oh, once you get married, some even tell you that you don't have a right in your father's house as a girl children. Why? Why is such situation happening? Please, parents, let's listen to this and let's know how we can cope this situation, because it is not right for any girl. okay, these girls, they need to learn they need to go to school, they need to learn their rhymes, they need to know what to do right and what to do wrong. Because once they are in the marriage, it is whatever they tell them to do that they will do. Once the because the man is old enough, so the man feels like, I'm old enough, I'm older than you, even more like a grandfather to you. So definitely the child wouldn't even have any say in the family. So please let us allow them to grow. So, ma'am, thank you for that. As a children and adolescent coach, you said that ending marriage is your voluntary work, whereby you visit schools and you talk to children, you talk to girls. I know that you must have learned some stories, some experiences from them, from the girl children. You must have talked to them on how, if any of them, if any of their friends have been experiencing this before, or they are also been telling them that, oh, and Bola, this is your husband. How often does losing a parent or growing up without steady parental care show up as a factor pushing a girl towards early marriage? Because from what you said, you talked about lack of parental care also. Because if you don't have anybody to fend for you, if you don't have anybody to provide bread for you, definitely you see it as an option, as an opportunity, as a privilege. But I want to know how often losing a parent can actually become a factor pushing a girl towards early marriage.
Yes, the truth is, it is very glaring that when a girl loses a parent or both parents, it becomes an issue, even in the society we have found ourselves. But this issue of losing a parent leading to child marriage also depends on the setting at which it is happening. A lot of speaking up, because I normally say we keep talking, we don't stop talking until we see the change that we envisage for. Based on sensitization and enlightenment, a lot of parents are beginning to understand the dangers of child marriage. So, based on the community where I work, I'm going to talk based on that, on the community where I work. You see, parents, it's not that easy for you to see a child who lost a parent not going to school. You see, most of them will tell you, even if my children are some people, even if their children are going to a private school, we all know the difference between a private school and government school in Nigeria. Even if the children are going to a private school, you will still see this girl or this child that have lost the parents living with the auntie, the uncle, or whoever is living, a guardian, going to a public school. So they still have the opportunity to go to school. So that aspect of losing a parent and leading to child marriage is very limited in the community where I work, because I've seen single parents saying, I did not go to school, I want my child to go to school. There are some of them who have even told me, when I see you, I want my child to be like you, so I want the child to go to school. So we tell me, I love the way you talk, I want the child to be like you. So a lot of them, they see education as an escape route for their children. So the community where I work, they just want their children to go to school. Yes, economy is really disturbing them and all of that. The economic hardship is actually eating deep and is disturbing them. But you still see a mother who is fighting hard to say, no matter what, even if it's secondary school, my child should go to secondary school and finish secondary school. So the issue of losing a parent doesn't really leads to child marriage in the communities where I have worked. But if you are looking at certain communities that is exposed to insecurity, that is exposed to abandonment, where you have our displaced persons camp and all of that, this is at a very high level, because these girls are not exposed to education. They are abandoned already. They don't have anybody to speak for them. They don't even have a roof over their head. So anybody that comes in to say, come, I want to take you to my house, come and be my wife, even without legally paying their bride price, they want to go because they feel that is the escape route, is safe for them. So it all depends on the setting that is happening. If it's happening in the region where we have very high level of insecurity, a girl is not losing the parent, definitely is going to lead to child marriage. It's very high. The risk is very high. But in the communities where I work, it is not as high as that.
Okay, thank you so very much. From what I learned from you now, you just said it is not really about losing a parent, but losing a parent can actually lead to a girl child being pushed into early marriage. But we still have some situations whereby some parents will boldly and proudly push their girl child into marriage, into early marriage. Why? Because
Yeah.
they think that is the best thing. They think that is the best thing, that is the best choice for that girl children. And we still have some parents that would even if it's to walk inside scorching sun so that their children, their girl children should end up in school, not
Yeah.
in early marriage. Please,
So
if you are a
guys,
parent, if you are
yeah.
if you are a parent that is watching this video, you know the right thing to do. Do you want your girl child to end up where you are today? Are you really laying a good path for that girl child? Because once the girl child enters into early marriage, she has already entered into that violence that you created for her. Because
Yeah.
marriage is a big thing. It is another world entirely. She has not
Mhm.
gotten the she doesn't have the real knowledge of life yet. So why pushing her into that situation? Why allowing her to face that situation? I think that is a kind of maltreatment, if you would ask me. So I think I will stop at this point and allow my other co-hosts to start from here.
Thank you, Ma, for the opportunity. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. Okay, so based on what she said, I was able to like pick some points. She made mention of and she okay before I go to that place, I want to tell the parents that will be listening to this conversation that even if you're not a perfect role model, you know your child, your girl child cannot look up to you and emulate some things, and that can inspire her to be great in life. You can have certain conversations with her that, oh, even though you didn't like the way you end up, you're not comfortable with this current situation you are in. As a parent, it is very important for you to have certain conversations with your girl child that will inspire her, not just for her to just be like, oh, to just accept what is happening in her environment and be like, oh, this is the norm, then I just have to work with it. You, as a parent, you should be able to inspire your girl child to dream big and to work towards it. Yes, ma. So my first question is, although practices differs across different communities, whatever is being practiced in a community is different from what will be practiced in other community. So in the community whereby you facilitate in, how does betrothal, how does it happen? Is it usually tied to a family's economic desperation? Maybe they see it as a liberation from poverty, or is it something deeper in the family structure or probably their background that influences it?
In the Nigerian setting generally, we have the issue of depending on the region, different regions with what actually leads to child marriage. There are some regions where a child is legally given out in marriage based on customs and traditions. There are some why in the communities or the region where I facilitate, most of the major cause of child marriage outside poverty and other factors that we have mentioned is teenage pregnancy. And if you're defining child marriage, it has to do with a union between an adult and a child, or a child and a child, and it can be legal or illegal, provided they are coming together to form a union. Now, when you talk about legal, that's where bride price is paid, the marriage is done properly, and all of that. But in the community where I facilitate, you see a situation of a girl getting pregnant. That's teenage pregnancy. And then when they get pregnant, the Nigerian society, oh, is this boy that got you pregnant? You have to go stay with the boy. So you find a teenage girl who got pregnant being pushed out into to go stay with either the boy and the family or to go stay with the boy. So that's the situation you see majorly in the communities where I facilitate. So you see a girl who got pregnant outside wedlock at teenage age, being pushed out to go stay with the boy she got pregnant for, or to go stay with the family of the boy. Now, I was in a school where I handled a sensitization session, and I had opportunity of meeting this particular girl. Thank God she went through this story, similar story I'm talking about. She got pregnant, she was 16, and the boy that impregnated her was also 16 years old. And then her father said, you cannot stay in my house. This is shame. You're bringing shame to me. You have to go stay with the boy that impregnated you. And this girl went to stay with the boy and the parents. And in the process, the so-called mother-in-law started maltreating her. All through the pregnancy, she was maltreated. She went through with the 9 months of pregnancy, gave birth, but the baby died. And research, that confirmed the research that when a child gives birth to a child, a girl who is into child marriage, when she gives birth, statistics have shown that majority of these children, they don't live up to their first birthday. You can imagine, so even matured women, some of them cannot take care of themselves, how much more they are being. But he to realize this mistake, that my child has made a mistake. The best thing is not to throw her out, but to draw her closer and make her see the mistake that she has made so that she will not repeat the same mistake. And so he had to take back his daughter and started taking care of the daughter. That is after she has lost the baby. One of the coalition members found her, and our organization gave her a scholarship. So at the time I went to a school to do a sensitization and also establish a school club, she was already in SS2. And I believe she should have graduated by now. So that's the issue. That's the issue of the communities where I facilitate. It is teenage pregnancies. That activity where I normally facilitate, teenage pregnancy is the major way that these girls are led into child marriage. But we have other coalition members working in other parts of Nigeria that they have cultures and tradition that support betrothal at a very young age, that these girls are handed over to their husband as children to become child brides. And outside that, I also have, I can keep telling stories upon stories of this child marriage issue from different regions. I also have another one. She was married from the north down to the south. And at the end of the day, she was married at the age of 16. And between 16 to 18 years, she has had 3 pregnancies, lost 1 baby, and 1 ectopic pregnancy. I didn't even know she was that young until my sister-in-law called me and said, Dorinda, this thing you're talking about, our neighbor is into child marriage. And I was like, are you serious right now? I know the girl, yes, but she was looking, some persons looks mature and all of that, and you won't know that this is still a child. When I saw the girl, I actually thought she was matured enough when they brought her from the north, that she was married and all, until my sister-in-law started telling me, no, that she went to visit her when she had an ectopic pregnancy, and she had to start asking now some questions. That was when she opened up that she got married at the age when she was almost 16. And then immediately she came in, she got pregnant. In few months after delivering the baby, she had an accident and she lost the baby. And in less than a year, she got pregnant again. And that pregnancy was the ectopic pregnancy. The husband, she went to the hospital and they advised her to flush out the pregnancy because of the danger to her health. And the husband refused. He said no, that is not going to allow her flush, that is against his belief. And she could not do anything. That's where violence comes in. She could not say anything because she's not empowered. She doesn't even know the danger she was in. And the annoying part of it all is the husband kept on sleeping with her, even in that condition. And she started bleeding. She was rushed to the hospital. That was when they had to do emergency evacuation for her. The same pregnancy they refused to evacuate, they still had to evacuate it when she started bleeding. You can imagine the pain. And when they asked the husband, why did you refuse this? He said, she is my wife. I have paid her bride price, so her body belongs to me. Whatever I want is what I get. And they told her, even at the expense of her life, and he said he doesn't care. So that's the situation of child marriage in different regions. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma. I can hear you, ma.
Of child marriage. So the community where I facilitate teenage pregnancy leads to child marriage most times. But in other communities, in other regions, you see the issue of betrothal, a girl legally getting married to a man who is way maybe 30 times older than her and all of that. So it's a very pathetic situation.
Wow, that is so emotional. Like, and the thing is that it is still the reality. Like, there are a lot of communities, in fact, not even rural areas, so even it happens in also urban areas. Issue of teenage pregnancy that you raised, even where I stay, it is actually part of the problem there, because they believe once you get married, they will say it in Yoruba, they will say something in, they will say it Yoruba that ọmọ tó bá ti lóyún kó gbalé ọkọ ẹ̀ lọ, that is, so far you are matured enough to get pregnant, no matter how old you are, you should go to your husband's place. And at the end of the day, 80% of those kind of girls end up living miserable lives, because they believe once you get pregnant as a young girl, that is the end. You cannot amount to anything. Whereas we have a lot of beautiful examples of girls that got pregnant like prematurely, and they are doing fine because they picked up their lives and they decided to work on it. So I believe this, in as much as I don't support teenage pregnancy, but then as a parent, teenage pregnancy is not the end of your daughter's life. So we can actually do better. So, and
Yeah.
my second question is that I personally believe that young girls should not be kept in the dark. They should be aware of informations, and then they should be equipped with the right knowledge so that they'll be able to make informed decisions. So ma, how does the lack of sexual and reproductive health and rights education, how does this put girls at greater risk of child marriage? And where does this lack of education begin?
So that child marriage also affects the boy child. It is very important that everyone is enlightened about sexual and reproductive health and right. It is key. Now, I'm going to rephrase that. It is very important that everyone is enlightened based on age-appropriate, comprehensive sexuality education and culturally accepted sexuality education. So when you're carrying out sexuality education, you have to look at the background. These persons that I am talking to, what is their background? How old are they? That's why age appropriate comes in and culturally sensitive comes in. So now, if a girl is not well equipped about sexual and reproductive health and right, she would not be well enlightened about our health, our reproductive health. She will not be well enlightened about the dangers of child marriage or the dangers of early pregnancy. This is where teenage pregnancy comes in. And then she will not be well enlightened about her bodily autonomy or her right as a girl child. So it is very important that sexual and reproductive health and right are supposed to have curriculums based on the ages of the children in our schools. Take them from the scratch. As they are moving from one class to the other, they are being taught just the way we have our textbooks about sex education. It is not the same way you teach a child who is 10 years old. And it is not the same way you teach a child who is 15 or 20 years old. So it must be age appropriate. Now, when a child is being taught these things at a very early age, it is difficult for anybody to come meet the girl and tell the girl, hey, excuse me, I want you to, there's a way you touch a girl who is enlightened and she will tell you, please excuse me, I don't like it. I go to schools to do sensitization and you hear the kind of questions girls are asking. You can imagine a girl asking me, Miss Dorinda, if I'm on my period and I sleep on the same bed with my father, is it bad? You can imagine that kind of question because the girl has not been taught sexual education. So she doesn't understand that if I'm on my period, it's just like the way I sleep on the bed with my sister. It's the same way it is with my father. There's nothing wrong. There are some persons that when they're on their period, they run away from boys because they are not well enlightened. Some girls, when they're on their period, they are so shy, they don't want to talk about it. Because we are not giving them enough sexual education. So when these girls are not well enlightened, the truth is they fall prey to these things. And most of the people that, for example, a girl who is exposed to child marriage, for example, let's use the issue of teenage pregnancy, for example, she doesn't get sexual and reproductive rights education on time. She will not know that, she won't know how to calculate her period. Even when she starts seeing signs, she will not know that it's my period that is coming. And then she won't know that teenage pregnancy is also dangerous to her health. Like I do say, the best thing to do for a girl child is to abstain. That is the best thing to do. It prevents you from having sexually transmitted infections. Most girls don't know about all of this. It prevents you from the also of early teenage pregnancy. Is not well enlightened about her reproductive health, will not know the danger that she's prone to when she engaged in premarital sex at a very early age. She won't know that her body is not even matured enough to carry a child. She won't know the danger of being exposed to obstetric fistula. She will not know all of these things. So it is very important that we teach these girls sexual and reproductive health and rights to prevent them from being exposed to circumstances that will lead to child marriage.
Oh, thank you so much, ma. I personally believe that the sexual and reproductive health right education, I believe it, as she has said, I believe it should also be inculcated in the school curriculum, because if parents for some reasons decide not to speak about it, probably because they feel shy, because I've once spoken to a parent that said she felt shy about educating her child concerning sexual, and I was kind of confused that shy as how. So we have a lot of parents like that having that kind of conversation, they believe it is forbidden, and they believe they are pushing the girl child to things that she should not be exposed to, whereas their silence actually does a lot. In fact, it does a lot than them talking about it. So I believe if parents fail to talk about it, the schools, government should inculcate it in the school curriculum. And as our guest has said, it should be age appropriate. Yes, if you cannot be speaking to probably a 3-year-old child who should just be learning, okay, public good touch and bad touch. Those are the things that she should be learning at that stage. You cannot be explaining the nitty-gritty of intercourse to her. She would not understand. So, and my last question is, in your facilitation work, how do you help communities separate culture from the harmful practices hiding behind it? And where have you seen that shift actually happen?
Okay, this issue of culture, harmful practices is something that you have to handle with a whole lot of wisdom. We've been to communities that they will tell you, you see this thing you're telling us not to do? Our forefathers have been doing it and nothing happened. This is how we have been living. So they don't even want to, they feel, no, we cannot accept this at all. So the thing is, when in a situation like that, we go through we do community entry. And then we do what we call going through the gatekeepers. So when we do that, we make them understand our mission and why we are coming in to do what we want to do. Not because we are coming to say your custom and tradition is bad, but we are coming in to help you understand the dangers of some of the things that you are doing that you should let go of, so that your girls and women can live a good life. And then when we do that kind of thing, we come in with data-driven evidences. We don't just come in and start talking. We make sure that we go in with data-driven evidences for them to see, like female gender mutilation, like this issue of child marriage. We give them number of girls who have died as a result of this. We show them a lot of girls who their destiny have been truncated as a result of child marriage. And then we try to make them see other girls their age that are doing very well and living happily. So we make them see these things, and we also bring in communities who have been practicing same culture and religion that they have been practicing and have let go of it because they realize that this thing is harmful to our girls and our women. and they are no more practicing it again. So this is how we come in. But we also understand that it is not something that happens all of a sudden. The transformation that we seek takes time. It's definitely going to take time. It's just like somebody who likes taking fufu and amala and begiri and all of that. And then you're coming to tell the person, can you reduce taking this thing or stop taking this thing? And this person has been taking it for all his life. So whatever you are bringing in, you have to give the person enough reason. You have to behave like that. You have to bring yourself down to their level so they can see that you actually want the best for them. You're not coming to condemn them. And that being said, looking at communities that I've worked with, I've heard some, if we had known this thing that you are telling us now for a very long time, we will not be doing most of the things that we have done. I've heard a lot of teenage girls. I had opportunity to work with out of school teenage girls. Some of them already had children. They didn't have, they dropped out of school. They already had children. And when I had the sensitization session with them, they tell me, Miss Dorinda, if we had known this thing that you're telling us now, we will not be having this baby that we have now. One of them told me categorically, said, yes, in a way, I'm still happy that I have this child, though, but if I was sensitized the way you sensitized me before now, I will not believe in this kind of life.
Thanks so much for the addition, for the experiences, and from the knowledge that you shared. So from what is shared so far, you talked about the tradition, which is the most important. I think it is our roots, where we come from, our origin, our background, and those are our fathers, our mothers. They are the ones that are introducing this tradition to us. And I feel like they should be the first person that will be seeing this video as well. They should be the first person that will be learning from this as well. Because when a girl child is a toddler, so definitely she hasn't gotten to that position, that age where she knows any custom or any tradition that will affect our situation or our future. But when she becomes older, she's being introduced to different kind of custom tradition that will tell her that, oh, when you get to this certain stage, you will get married. Then that is when you become an adult. Just like he said, that if you are on this kind of food, maybe rice and beans, and you now told them that rice is poisonous for you, they would ask you, even they would tell you, African parents, they will say that you've not been born when I've been eating this rice. So definitely you cannot tell me that rice is poisonous. That is our mentality in Nigeria. In Africa, I feel that is the common mentality we do have. But I want to implore the parents, especially because this is theirs. This episode is for you. You are the one that own this episode. You are the one that own this knowledge, because you are the best person that can enlighten your child. The teacher can do as well. The parents can do as well. I remember that when I was in school, then there are some core members that they do talk about this sexual education. Then they used to teach us one song. AID, yes, age is low. I tell my friend, make na old body, those kind of sex education, enlighten girls, especially on what's unprotected sex. And they even enlighten us. Why would you even go into unprotected sex? I understand and I feel for the girls that do not have parents. I want to assure you today that don't worry, it should definitely be fine. It will be okay. Just believe in yourself and focus on your future. Your future is bright. You are great, and you definitely be great in future. Don't stop that momentum. Just keep going. Marriage is not the situation to move yourself from poverty. It is not the antidote of poverty. Marriage is not the antidote of maltreatment. No, you are definitely the antidote of yourself, because you are the cure of yourself. The moment you realize that part that you want to go into, and you have that strong determination to venture into it, don't worry, you will definitely get there. That's it. There might be a lot of crossroads whereby you might face a lot of challenges. Don't worry. God is with you, because I know that with everything and putting God first, your paths will be true. So at this point, I want to end this episode, ending child's marriage in Nigeria, with a quote that says, all parents, let our girl children grow. Let them grow and let them experience themselves and enlighten them as well. So this is the end. The recorded video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, on the Speak Without Podcast YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe, like, and share, because this episode is very, very important to you as well. As you are learning, please help us subscribe so that we can continue more of this work for you. Thank you so much for coming, man. We really appreciate your presence. We appreciate you being here to share your knowledge as well. Thank you so very much, man. Thank you, man. Bye for now, man.
Bye.